position really to get rid of any, but we certainly will be in a position to actually use them more fruitfully. So there is, I think, a business case here, and certainly to get it past our financial controller, it must have actually been in place. But the principle of this is actually just making sure that the staff are collecting observations on a timely basis, and we can drive that using the clinical interface and alerting if patients aren't being seen and having their observations conducted regularly. We know that they're being calculated correctly. We know that actually the alerts are going out and that people are responding, and we can generate reports to see who's not responding and actually softly go back and see why. So we think that this sits nicely upon the processes that we already have in place, and certainly from our experience has augmented that to drive clinical care, which at the moment is my raison d'etre, and I suspect will be for the rest of my career. So that's Patientrack. Questions? Stunned silence.
What kind of device did the junior doctors use? Was it just a bleep, or was it like a PDA so they got actual information?
It's just a bleep. We, again, because we're a bit skinflinty, we had a multi-tone bleeping system in place. We just raised that through a bleep. There are other ways of alerting people, but the message that comes onto the bleep is designed to give them the idea of who the patient is, what the score is, where they are, and what the response time is. There are systems out there, eye bleeps, and
Did you look at eye bleep?
we have done. Why did we not look at it? Because it just gives you a list. It gives you a list. And what we want is the clinicians to actually have some responsibility for controlling what their workload is, because it's not a single stream of work. And actually we wanted to prioritise clinical work over rewriting a drug chart or putting a cannula in or reviewing somebody that's fallen out of bed. And we felt that that was the simplest way of doing that.
Does it get rid of paper?
Does it
get rid of any paper?
Yes. All the observations are done now electronically. You view the observations electronically. The only time that paper's generated in the wards, the way we've got this now, we've only been through the surgical division thus far, is when a patient gets moved from a surgical ward to a medical ward for whatever reason. So neck and femur fractures who are in a rehabilitation phase, they will go and they'll have it printed to put into the notes. But as we rock through, we're about to start in the Division of Medicine. What month are we now? We're November. Second week in December, we're going into the Division of Medicine. So it'll get... Does it help? It helps in the way we can turn the requirement for observations off. So we have a series of codes where, and there's a couple of different steps. One is where the patients are kind of actively dying, if you like, where we don't touch them and we just look at comfort care. And we can drive comfort care through that system. The other way is where patients aren't necessarily for resuscitation, but they're still for active treatment, so we adjust the frequencies accordingly. It is one of the problems that we had when we've got paper charts. People just don't seem to think, whereas now it just takes one person to have that thought, and the system's in place. Similarly, we could alter the frequency of observations if they come back from theatre. That alters the schedule automatically. You can change the parameters so that people with respiratory disease who have a higher baseline respiratory rate, you can change that to their individualised parameters, even for a short period of time, so you can get it to wear off tomorrow automatically or carry on. Well, that's interesting. The question was, is there any work about automatically updating the observations? And I know that I've spoken to somebody today about doing that, and I know that there are a couple of companies that we've been approached by. That work is around, and I think that the idea is that there will be product in the UK market from next year. My own concern about that, somebody's already mentioned Salford today, my own concern about that is that actually, whilst that's handy for certain groups of patients, in reality what I want is somebody to go and touch the patient. I want a nurse to actually be stood at the bedside. If you measure Salford's experience, when they took away Dynamaps, what it stopped was somebody going along, putting a blood pressure cuff on, walking away to go and do something else, come back, write the numbers down, no patient interaction. And when they measured patient experience, actually taking the Dynamaps away, making them do manual blood pressures, improve the patient experience. It's the same numbers. Might well have had a time effect somewhere else, whatever staff were doing, but actually it was the patient experience that improved. And I want people at the bedside. I want people at the bedside. Anything else? It's nearly time to go. Thank you very much indeed.